The formative assessment tool Socrative is pretty simple and easy to use. It has a lot of similarities with other tools like Kahoot and quizzes, but it does take it a little bit more seriously, which is great for making it more of a true formative assessment rather than a game. In order for it to be that true formative assessment, it should be less than 5 minutes, and you should be using the data that you get from the formative assessment to make some sort of adjustment to your instruction in order to better meet the needs of your students. So Socrative really makes it pretty simple to do all of that, and I just want to give you a quick overview of all of the different kinds of places you can go in Socrative and a couple of the buttons that you'll see along the way. So after you create your own educator account here on Socrative, it is free. You can make it through Socrative.com. This is the first screen you'll see after you log in. It's called the launch screen. And you'll see your room code up at the top. This is what students will need to type in order to actually access anything that you push out to them. Students can access the login page by going to Socrative.com, and they can click the student login button in the upper right hand corner. That'll take them to the screen where it'll ask for the room name. This is your room name right here. Good thing that never changes, so you can write that up on your whiteboard. Students will memorize it, and it really won't be an issue, and you don't have to worry about wasting time getting kids logged in, as this tool is very reliable. Not perfect, but it's reliable. Anyway, the other options that you have here on the launch screen, this is how you push actual assessments out to students. So assuming you have quizzes created, from the launch screen, if you hit the quiz button, you can actually choose which quiz to push out to kids, and then you have a couple of options that I'll get into later. The space race is the more entertaining end of Socrative. It categorizes, or it automatically groups students into different colored groups, like purple, green group, blue group, whatever, and they will race each other to get the questions correct in order to get their spaceship to get to the end first. You can pull data from that just like you would with a quiz. It's just a little more fun. Exit ticket is a standardized kind of just 3-question set that you can push out to students really quickly at the end of a lesson. It asks 3 questions. The first says, how well did you understand today's content? The second says, what is something you learned? And the third says something along the lines of, do you have any questions for the teacher? So it's a one-click push that it would push those 3 questions out to the kids as they leave, and all of that would get saved to your account so you can go back and check it out later. So the quick questions at the bottom of this launch screen are very convenient, and they have a bit of a different use. You don't need to have anything created for these, but for example, if I would hit true, false, I would send that question out to students instantly. So if they were logged in, they would see a big true or false appear. But you're asking the question verbally. So you would be talking to your class and say, okay, what do you think? Is it true or false? Bam, hit the thing, they can tell you what they think, and you'll get that data immediately. So it's pretty neat. It's just a very unplanned approach on the fly. This is something that you can even have on your cell phone. So as you're walking around the class talking, you can launch one of these quick questions at any given moment without going to a computer. All right, so that is the launch screen here. I want to show you these other sections of Socrative just so you have an idea of what they contain and what you can do with them. If you go to the Quizzes tab, that's where you can actually create different quizzes. Just to give you an idea of the kind that you can create, they contain multiple choice, true or false, or short answer, or any combination of the 3 of those. There's really no limit to how many questions you can have per quiz, but keep in mind that formative assessments generally should be 5 minutes or less. They should be quick, they should be simple, and they should be able to get you the data that you can then go back and analyze. So if you choose any of these, the question assessment builder is very straightforward, where you type in the question, the possible answers, the correct responses. You can eliminate possible responses with the X's, and you can even add pictures, which is really nice and can be helpful for certain types of questions. To add additional questions, you just keep tapping at the bottom to add additional ones, and then you can hit save. There's even a feature to share quizzes that you create using this share quiz code. So if you and another teacher are both using Socrative, you can share codes to actually share quizzes and save each other some time. So if we did create a quiz, remember that anytime we go back to, launch a quiz, all of the quizzes that you create will appear right here, that you can just really easily click one and launch it. So back here, My Quizzes, if you ever need to edit a quiz that you already have created, you can click into that and click on the quiz that you want to edit and choose Edit. You can also download it if you need to print it. And then there are a couple other options in there as well. The Import Quiz feature won't be very useful unless you create quizzes with Excel, which most people don't. But there are a couple other things in there that might come in handy down the road. And reports, that's how you can find some reports for any of these specific quizzes that you gave, but I prefer going to the actual reports section of the website. So if you click reports, it's actually an ongoing record of every session that you've ever launched in Socrative, which is really convenient because if you launch a session on Tuesday and you don't get to analyze the data until after kids are gone, you can go back into the reports section, load up that, find that specific session. It actually date stamps it for you, and you can load up, let's go with, click the eyeball. You have the option to view it right within your browser, or you can hit Get Reports and then choose your download option. So if I wanted an Excel spreadsheet, I could just hit Download, and it would download that for me. Here's a quick idea of what it looks like if you get the data. It does all of this automatically for you, which saves a ton of time, and it really makes it easy for you to analyze the data of your formative assessments. So looking at this one, it's very clear to see which students get it, which students don't. You even get some whole class data at the bottom here. And then this particular session here included an open-ended response, which is very interesting and a great idea, I think, for tagging onto the end of a formative assessment. So that way you get the data from the multiple choice questions, whatever it may be, and then you're giving the students the opportunity to say something to you not anonymously, but like privately. So think of the students that don't like to raise their hand in class. You are giving them an outlet, a way to communicate with you that doesn't draw attention to them, which is where you can get some of the most honest feedback from your students. It's a great idea. And to do that, you would just say short answer when you're creating a quiz using that quiz builder in Socrative. All right, so going back here, that is the reporting section. You can archive, you can delete reports, you can even search reports. So the more you use this, they really do keep that in mind. It doesn't get difficult to use. You can always just sort things out. So I want to show you real quickly the student end of things, just to give you an idea of what it looks like from their end and what it will look like on the teacher end if you decide to launch a formative assessment with Socrative. So let's go back to the launch section of Socrative here, and remember, you can launch whenever you want from here, but if you're just launching a standard formative assessment, it would probably be a quiz. So let's click that. Here's where we choose which quiz we want to push out to students. Let's select the Check for Understanding. You do have a couple options for how it gets sent out to students. We don't want to disable names. If you're using it as a formative assessment, it would be helpful to know who said what. You do have some options for randomization and to hide or show feedback to students. That's up to you whether or not you want them to know if they got it right or wrong as they submit. And the pacing options up at the top, you do have the ability to restrict it to the teacher setting the pace for the questions and how they are delivered. So let's just leave things as is here. We can hit Start once we're all ready. If you have any activities that have already run in the past, you'll get a little window that looks like this, and it's okay to just say yes. Remember that it always saves your reports. Even if you close something out after you launched it, you can go back and find them in that Reports tab. So this is the results screen. You can tell that a session is being broadcasted to students because of the rays that are coming off of the S in results. So that means that the students are ready to go to Socrative.com and click on that student login link, or they can open up the Socrative student app in order to participate in the formative assessment. So let's take note of the room code here, 4B8DF865. I'm going to go to the student end here at the student login, and I'll go ahead and type that in and hit join. Students will be prompted to enter their name. I can say done, and the formative assessment should load up. So this is the exact quiz that I selected from that launch screen on the teacher dashboard there. The student will just be able to answer this by tapping or clicking their response. So let's go ahead and say down is the opposite of up, and then click Submit Answer. Since our settings allowed students to see the results of the formative assessment, they can you see that's why it says correct. and then it shows their answer. It was a one question formative assessment, so that's why there aren't any additional questions to follow. And this is what students see when they're done. Because we're close to Halloween here, that's why it's a little bit of a Halloween theme, which is fun. But the teacher then will be able to go back and look at the results in real time as they come in from students. So this is definitely not something to project. It would give away the right answer by showing it that it's green. It would show who got wrong answers. So either take away the ability by turning these toggles off, or just don't project it, and you don't have to worry about anything being shown to students that they shouldn't see. After we say finish, you have the ability to see a report right then and there, or you can just close this out and go look at the report anytime by clicking into the Reports tab. So the Check for Understanding that I just launched, I can go log off my computer, shut down, restart, whatever, come back to this later, and re-log into Socrative and load these results anytime that I want, whenever I'm ready to actually sit down and analyze them. Because it's a short formative assessment, the nice thing there is it doesn't take long to get a good read on where your students are at, who's got it and who doesn't. So that's kind of a reminder of that, the true nature of the formative assessment. It should be quick, it should not take a lot of time, and it should be very easy for you as the teacher to use the data to adjust your instruction. So let's click on the eyeball for that session, and viewing the chart shows this, and you can make it anonymous. So if you want to show your class how they did, you can anonymize the names, and they can see, how many of them got it right and how many of them got it wrong. But if you want the specific data, you can either use this screen or click on this report and say Get Reports. You can get a whole class Excel spreadsheet to download, or you can do by individual student or drill it down to specific questions. So let's download the whole class Excel. That will download right here at the bottom of the browser. And where'd it go? Here it is. All right, so there was only one student that participated in this formative assessment, but we can see here they said square, and they didn't get it right for that question. If we hit Enable Editing, it should clean this view up a little bit. Remember, you can always resize. There we go. So the color coding is automatic. The student names will populate here. All very useful stuff, very quick and easy for you to tell who's got it and who doesn't. Imagine 30 names in here, and it would start to look a little bit more like the one that I showed before, where it's a real quick snapshot view of how your students performed for your formative assessment that you launched. So that's it. That's the quick overview session here of Socrative by using the website. Real last reminder here, there's an app. The app is very good, it's reliable, and it can save your students some time by not having to require them to go to Socrative.com. They can just get the Socrative student app and use that to join your sessions anytime. So it doesn't take long for them to memorize this code, and if you're using this pretty routinely, you'll be surprised at how fast your students will pick up the code and how much of a routine it will be for them to just, okay, everyone get your device out, type in the code, let's do some quick formative assessments or exit tickets, anything you've got. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself, Ben Rossman, or Megan Hooper. We'd be happy to help you out. Thank you.